Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. In this video we are going to create lab system. So for creating the lab system we should have a UI text for the lab counter. So first of all we will create our lab counter text. So here in RCC canvas new, because this is our main canvas, we can create a UI panel. And now we have this nice panel. We will make it to black, transparent, and then we can resize the panel to something like this. We can place it to left, right, or anywhere we want. So I will add it in the middle, and we can make it a little bit bigger, and definitely we can place it in the middle, and I will select the top middle anchor point. Okay, so that's nice. Now we will add the text for this panel, and I will rename this panel to lab counter panel, and here inside this panel we will create some text objects. So I always told you that don't create text inside the under this selection, so it can create some problems later on. So we will click on this RCC canvas new, and we will create a text element. Then we can drag drop this text element inside the counter panel. Okay, so now this will not create any problem. So we'll name it lab counter text maybe, and then we can place it to the top. We can change the color to white. We can make the size to, we will make it bold. We will use the, I think, Unipix. Yeah, we can select any of our font. I think we can test these fonts, and yeah, actually good time and Jupiter, and okay, let's use the simple Arial. I think so we should have Arial font here. Yeah, so let's make it 34 maybe in size, and we will make it overflow, so it should be visible, and we will place it here. We'll make it 24, and we will rename it to lab timer. Okay, like this. And then I think this panel is bigger, this whole panel. So if we select this panel and make it smaller, the text will be disturbed. Okay, so before that we will create some other text element. I will duplicate this text element, and I'll place it here, and we will make it on the 0 0. Okay, like this, and then we will rename it to minutes, and then again we will duplicate it, and we will move it a little bit here, and I will rename it to seconds, and then again we will duplicate, and then we can milliseconds. Okay, so one more thing, we if we select this, you can see it's too bigger, the area of this text, so we will make it smaller. Okay, so something like 33, and for this as well something like 33, and this one as well. So now this is fine. We will select all the text and we will bring it outside, and then we will make the panel smaller like this. Okay, and after that we will again bring all the objects inside this panel. We will duplicate these objects, and then we will bring these objects here in the bottom, and then we will rename these items. So for this we will add best time text, and okay, so everything is fine, and we will create a small image inside this counter panel. UI image or raw image you can also add, and this image is actually just the line under the lap timer. Okay, so we can add it here like this, and that's nice. Everything is fine. If we play the game, we can see our lap timer text inside the game, hopefully. So yeah, you can see nice lap timer text. So one thing is problematic, that this text is little bit too near to this lap timer, and also lap timer counter. If we select the nodes, we have to make these nodes like this. Yeah, and this text we will move it little bit. Arrange these text sections as well. So this, I think, okay, so that's nice. We have successfully arranged the timer. Now the next step is to add some triggers. So for that purpose we will go to our car, and here on the start we will create a trigger. Okay, so in start point we have actually this cube, this one, and this cube as well, and this cube we don't need, I think, so we will delete this cube. And here this cube we will just duplicate, and we will rename this cube to final trigger. Finish lap trigger. Okay, so we'll bring it here, and then definitely we can change the textures of this cube as well, but no need for that. We can just make it little bit bigger, and now we will make it trigger. Definitely we need it to be trigger, and then okay, that's fine. Now we will create our script. So before creating the script, I will just change the mesh of this box to something like simple, and here I will just duplicate this cube and I will bring it to from outside the start point, so it is not the sub component of this trigger. And I named it half lap trigger. Okay, so we can place this trigger to something like in the middle of the lap system, and then I already have renamed this trigger. So now we will create a script. So let's go to scripts, and here we will create a new script. So I named it half lap trigger. So we will open this script into Visual Studio. Let's wait for some seconds. Okay, so our script is open, and here we will just delete these functions, and we will create two game objects: public game object, game object, and half lap trigger and public game object, finish lap trigger. Okay, so that's nice. We will come here and we will create a function void on trigger enter, and then we can say that if other the tag equal to player, then what will happen? So we will say that half lap trigger dot set active false, and before that actually we will add not half, final lap trigger dot set active true. So what we have done here, that we will switch off the half lap trigger, and we will enable the finish lap trigger when our car will enter to half lap trigger. So we will select half lap trigger here, and we will add this script to half lap trigger. Okay, so here now you can see two pages, half lap trigger and finish lap trigger. So we will drag drop half lap trigger over here, and we will add finish lap trigger in the second field. So that's nice. If we start the game, we will just hide the mesh of this half lap trigger, and for the full lap trigger we will also hide the mesh, and we will make it set active false. Okay, so in the beginning finish lap trigger is not enabled. So if we will reach this half lap trigger, the finish lap trigger will be switched on. So for testing this functionality, we will play the game, and let's see what will happen with these triggers. So let's play the game, and now you can see finish lap trigger is inactive and half lap trigger is active. So when we reach the half lap trigger, then you will see that the hopefully finish lap trigger will be switched on or become active. So let's see, I think we didn't reach the half line. Yeah, we actually reached the half line, and you can see that half lap trigger become inactive and finish lap trigger become active. So that's nice. Now we will create another script and we will name it to lap manager, and then we can open this script in Visual Studio, and then we will write our second script. So here we will again make some variables, and the first variable will be, before that we also want to add using Unity engine .ui, because we are playing with UI components as well. So here we will add public static int, and we will name it to minutes, and then minutes timer we will name it, and then again public and static int, and this time seconds counter, counter or timer, whatever you name, and then again we will add public, and this time we will add static float, because this number milli count or milli timer can be float as well. So milli timer, this is for milliseconds, and then the last variable will be public static string, because we want to convert our UI element to string for better display. Okay, so milli, we can say public string to milli display. Yeah. So after that we will create some more variables like public game object, and then we can name it to minutes box, and then seconds box and public game object, milli box. Okay, so that's nice. Now we will come to update method. We can delete this start method, and in update method what we want to do is that we want to increase milli count. So what we will do, we can add milli timer actually, and milli timer, and then we will say plus equal to time dot delta time, and here we will say multiply by 10. Okay, and then we will say milli display equal to milli count. We will show the milli count here. So milli timer dot to string because we want to convert it to string, and then we can add here f0. okay, so this f0 is for limiting the decimal integers, so which are after point. Okay, so we limit them to only 2 digits. So here we'll say Malee box, Malee box, M-I-L-I box dot get component, and then we will get the component text. Okay, so this line means actually that we are getting the text inside the Malee box counter. So if we go here and if we select the lab counter panel, you can see that we have this milliseconds, and here if we see, you can see a element text here. Okay, so we are getting this component, so that's why we are writing here get component, and then we have assigned it to text, and then here we will say dot text equal to, and then here we will just insert the inverted commas. We will not add anything inside this, or if you want to show something, you can add that as well. So Malee display. Okay, so that's nice. We can save this script as well. So after that, we will add if statement inside the update statement. We will add another if statement, and we will say that second timers is less than or equal to 10. So no, actually first of all we will add if Malee timers. Okay, we will start with a Malee count. So we will say Malee, if Malee timer is greater than or equal to 10, then what will happen? So here we will say that Malee count Malee timer plus equal to 0. Okay, if it become greater than 10, then it will be 0, and then we will say second timer plus equal to 1. Okay, then second will be 1. After 10 milliseconds we will get 1 complete second. Okay, so hopefully you understand the concept. So here we will again create if statement, and here we will say if second timer is less than or equal to 0, then what will happen? Okay, so we will say second box dot get component, and then we will again get the text component here, and then we will say that dot text equal to, here we will say 0 plus second count, and then we can, if we want to separate it with dot, you can add the dot here. Okay, like this. So now we will add else statement. This else statement is for this if statement. Okay, so this else statement we will add, and we will say that in for this else statement, if second box dot get component, and again we will select the text component, text component dot to text. Then we will say that inverted comma, we will not add anything here, and we will say second count plus, and again if you want to insert a dot, you can add dot here as well. Okay, so this is nice. After this else statement, we will add another if statement. So here we will say second count equal to or greater than 10. Then what will happen? Okay, so we'll say second count will be 0, and definitely minutes count will be plus equal to 1. So minutes, where it is, minutes, yeah, minute timer plus equal to 1. So 1 will be added to our minutes. Okay, so that's nice. One more if statement is here, so we'll say if, and then we will say if minute count, minutes, where is it, minute timer is less than or equal to 0, then what will happen? So we'll say that minute box dot get component, and definitely we will get the text component again, dot text equal to, and here we will say 0 plus minute timer plus here we can add the break. Okay, so last statement will be else statement, and here we will say that minute box dot get component. Definitely you can copy and paste the upper lines as well. I am just writing the code so that you can understand a whole concept. So plus minute count plus, and then you can add break. So for these last breaks we can add these semicolons, I think, so it will be nicer. So now we will save the script, we will go to Unity, and here we will create an object. So let's go to Unity, and here we will create a empty game object, and then we can name it to lab manager, or any other name you can assign, and then we will add this lab manager script onto our lab manager game object, and then we have minute box, etc. So we'll go to lab counter, and we will drag our minutes here, second box will be seconds here, milli box will be milliseconds here. So let's play the game and let's see what will happen. So yeah, now you can see that we have a nice lap timer, and you can see that when we are getting seconds and then we are getting minutes nicely. Alright, so this video becomes lengthy, so we will just end this video right here, and in next video we will move further.